non-toxic cutting boards. There's lots of cutting boards out there with really gnarly things in them. I'm going to break down which ones you want to avoid and then what your best options are for cutting boards. So I've seen some videos recently of people talking about microplastics and cutting boards. I always get confused as to why someone would release a video based on one study they've read. Plastic cutting boards are really bad because they release microplastics. There was one study, that estimated around 100 to 300 micro or nanoplastics per cut along the groove. They looked at polypropylene, they looked at polyethylene, and polypropylene unequivocally leached more microplastics. And in general, polypropylene leaches far more than other types of plastic. However, there's lots of studies showing that microplastics will migrate from the cutting board into food. Lots of them. And so that's where I get a little confused. I'm like, why are we talking about just one study? Yes, that study's important, but there's lots of them. But reminder, all plastic leaches both microplastics and tons of chemical additives. And there's also tons of studies showing that the more heavily processed a meat is, the more microplastics it has in it. And based on the different polymer types that are found in those proteins, it is linked back to cutting boards. You also have to remember that all plastic leaches more as it ages, right? So the longer that one had that plastic cutting board, the more it's actually going to leach into your food. Gross. Yeah, and microplastics are something you want to avoid. They are now unequivocally linked to lots of different types of cancer, colon cancer being a big one. Now, wood cutting boards, in my opinion, are going to be far superior, right? There is this idea that they're not sanitary as much, but there's lots of studies proving that that is not true. Most types of wood are natural antimicrobials, and the most popular types of wood cutting boards out there, like acacia wood, there's also cedar, those all have antimicrobial properties just inherent in the wood itself. They are easy to sanitize, and another good thing is that bacteria won't live as long on a wooden cutting board versus a plastic cutting board. I always thought there was a conspiracy behind this, right, where the plastic industry was sowing misinformation about wood cutting boards out there. I feel like that's true, even though I have no evidence for it. However, I do want to warn you, there are now tons of fake ass wood cutting boards out there that you definitely want to avoid. Okay, so there's lots of cutting boards out there that are made out of like bamboo fiber or plant fiber. Do not be fooled. This is just plastic by another name. What they're doing is they're getting a small amount of powdered wood, they're mixing it with typically melamine, and then that is their cutting board, and they're saying it's made out of plant, but it's still plastic. Just so you know, those plant fiber based melamine materials are actually banned in Europe because they leach and migrate so much that they are literally harmful to children's health. What you want to get is a full 100% wood cutting board. Now, I will remind you that bamboo does not have those antimicrobial properties like other types of wood, but they're still really good. Look at the question a lot, do you have to oil your boards? No, you don't. I've never oiled my board. You get it super hot water, a touch of soap, usually not directly on the wood itself. Usually I do that with my scrubby. I scrub, and you're done, right? You wipe it clean, you dry it, you're done. That's really fast. So again, wood is definitely the way to go. Here are my favorite brands. You can also try to use other materials like glass or stainless steel cutting boards. Those are fine. I find that they dull my knife a little bit too quickly.